dragon, rock the dragon, come get me. Dragon Ball Z. Dragon, dragon, rock the dragon, Dragon Ball Z. Dragon, dragon, rock the dragon, come get me. Dragon, dragon, rock the dragon, Dragon Ball Z. Dragon, dragon, rock the dragon, come get me.
What is going on, guys? It's your boy Ridsley. I am so excited to be playing in a league today. I have not played MTGO since April, but your boy is back, and he's going to be releasing hot new content for all you Worldgorger lovers. Want to do a quick deck tech before I dive into the league? So, we're on version 1 of the deck. Version 2 is slightly different, which is the build I play in paper. Because Abdul is not legal online, you actually still can just play Worldgorgers and Piranha Marsh for your kill. I'm going to go over some of the card choices. Gristlebrand's a 4 of. It's the best creature you could be bringing back in Reanimator. I would never consider sleeving up a Reanimator deck that had less than 4 Gristle in the main. You got the 3 Worldgorger. The 1 Una is in case you loop your Worldgorger, you can infinitely exile their deck. You got 3 Unmask, 3 Grief, 4 Animate, 4 Dance of the Dead, 4 Reanimate, 4 Entomb. Now, Stitcher Supplier is in here because not only can it set up your lethal graveyard, but if you flip a Cabal Therapy, you just go absolutely ham. And it actually kills with Worldgorger Dragon, because when you bring back Worldgorger, you actually can just flicker your Stitcher over and over, which will be lethal with Una. You got the 4 Piranha Marsh to kill with Worldgorger on a loop. The 10 basics. I'm going to talk a little bit about the side. Thoughtseize comes in practically in every matchup. There'll be very few matchups you don't bring it in. It's just absolutely insane. You have 4 Feed the Swarm, mostly for Leyline. 4 Rotting Regisaur come in against Leyline as well, but you can also bring it in against Delver. Any deck playing Cage, stuff like that. Fairy Macabre is mostly just for the mirror. And yeah, guys, so that's the deck. Dance of the Dead is over Exhume, just so we can combo with Worldgorger Dragon. Exhume is really good, but in this build, it's not particularly strong. Dance is a lot better. Alright, guys, so let's dive into this league. Alright, so I will be doing commentary on this league. I had accidentally recorded the league, and actually, the mic got muted, so I'm going over the content now, and we're going to commentate my matches. Alright, so let's start the league. Super excited to be back, guys. Hope we can get a ton of content for you with not only Worldgorger, Dreadstill, which is my other primary deck. Alright, so we are on the play, and we are going to keep this hand. Pretty strong. Not the best hand in the world, but not bad. You have Entomb, Dance, and Stitcher, so I don't think you throw it away. Okay. So land pass here. Pretty standard. Not knowing what opponent's on, we don't want to throw the Entomb into a Force of Will. Okay. So opponent looks like he might be on some kind of control deck, and we're going to Entomb and grab Gristlebrand here, just in case he happens to rip foul with the Ponder. Oh, Unmask. Very good draw. Okay. So we're going to unmask him, take his Force of Will. So we are correct. He is on a counterbalance control deck. And Dance on Gristlebrand. That should be it. Now we could just draw a bunch of cards. Then we're going to shred his hand. Alright. And we're gonna grief him. Grief again. So yeah, his hand is pretty much gonna be gonzo here. And for good measure, we're gonna reanimate Grief, take his last card, and that'll pretty much be all she wrote. So opponent's telecasting that he drew some kind of cantrip. We're gonna untap Gristle. Put him down to 8. So we could win here, but I don't know if it's worth risking playing into Plow. Actually, I know it's not worth playing into Plow. It's probably safe to just reanimate a Grief here. I mean, you could win with this hand, but okay, so Stitcher hit a Grief. I don't like animate deading Worldgorger here in case he has Plow, so I think it is correct to just bring back Grief. We can't therapy him because then we can't animate, so yep, so bring back Grief. Okay, predict. Not targeting me, which is interesting. I would just name me for Swamp, but so we're definitely taking Jace. Or are we? No, we're taking Prismatic, because you can't cast Jace. And then we'll pass. Discard some lands. And that should do it for game 1. Oh, wow. He has Teferi. Okay. So he's going to bounce Gris. Or, sorry, he's going to bounce, yeah, Gristlebrand. Opponent should still be dead here. And we get the natural kill with Piranha Marsh for the GG. On to the next game. So in this matchup, I definitely like bringing in Thoughtseize. You could make an argument for some number of Rotting Regisaur. Gonna trim a Gristle, a Stitcher, a Worldgorger. You'll see this a lot when I board, but I like to go up to 61 cards post-board a lot. I do it all the time. Why? I don't know. Alright, and we're gonna go like that. This hand is for sure a keep. We keep these hands all day. Multiple discard effects, one piece away from winning. You never threw these back, boys. And we're going to lead with grief here. I do agree with pitching the ritual here. I think probably don't need it. Not against a slower deck like this. Okay. Oh, wow. What a blowout. Veil Summer, my grief. Okay, so Thoughtseize. I think you have to take the counterbalance here. Surprised he didn't play it. I guess he was afraid of dying, which is fair. So his opponent has Dress Down and Plow. I think you just go land pass here. Like, I don't think you want to be bringing back grief when you know he has Dress Down. There we go. Tomb was a great draw. Oof, another Veil. Brutal. So, I guess we just have to pass here. I think the play next turn is you try to reanimate grief and then try to kill. Yeah, so you reanimate grief. If he dress downs, then you get to Cabal Therapy his Plow and put Gristlebrand into play. That seems fine. Yeah, I like this play a lot. So he's definitely going to dress down it. What he should do, to be honest, is not only dress down it, but he should plow it immediately. So I have less information to work with. Like right now, when you let grief come into play, I think you should plow this. But opponent does not, so we're going to therapy him. Take the plow. So we see he just has 2 lands, so we're just going to get Gris. We can't kill him with Worldgorger. And then you just pass, and you get to draw a whole bunch of cards. Oh, wow. Oh, okay. So, I think drawing here is fine. Oh, Mystic Sanctuary. Touche. Getting his plow. It's a good play. So that hand should do it. I think opponent's just dead to Worldgorger here with our hand. Like, at the very worst, we can naturally just discard it And if we draw any discard off the top, he's dead. Let's see if he elects to plow now or later. Alright, so we draw Thoughtseize. So now we just grief him and kill him with Thoughtseize. Okay. Opponent has nothing left in hand. So now we just Thoughtseize ourselves and kill with Dance. And that'll be lethal. GG's opponent. We will be 1-0, guys. All right. On to game 2. Up against Nyx, a fellow reanimator pilot. This hand is a pretty obvious mulligan. It just doesn't do anything. This hand also is a mulligan. Not drawing that great. That's okay. This hand we can definitely keep. Gotta bottom a couple lands. Unmask target me. Oof. He's probably gonna take my Entomb, I'd guess. And he does. So we're gonna Blind Therapy. I think you name an animation spell here, either Animate Dead or Exhume, maybe, in case he has. Well, he might have Entomb in his hand. Because he's never going to cast Entomb. Reanimate, I think's fine. Okay, Exhume. He has Faithless, Entomb, and Unmask. So we were correct in assessing that he had an Enabler. Okay. If he drew a creature here, he can't discard it, which is a bummer. So we know his hand is Entomb and Unmask. I kind of like playing Entomb here, to be honest with you. Opponent disagrees. Nice. Stitcher was a good draw. Okay. Hit a couple therapies. That's nice. I think we wait. Okay, we're gonna therapy him now. Got the Worldgorger. See if he casts Entomb. He does not. So we're gonna take his Entomb. I don't really care about Unmask right now. I have 2 animation spells in my hand. So we can bring back Worldgorger, but have no way of winning. This is one of the upsides of Abdul, right? It would just be game over right now. It's alright, though. Okay, so now we have the win. And I'm going to fast forward a little bit of this combo, because this is going to take a bit. Alright. So we end the loop by bringing back Stitcher. Now we're going to cast Grist from our hand with 61 mana floating. Draw a bunch of cards. And yeah, that'll do it. Alright, GG. So mirror match, you definitely want to be bringing in fairies, and you definitely want to bring in Thought Seizes. Shaving on some number of Gristlebrands are good because you actually don't want that card in your hand in the beginning of the game, in case they strip it and then bring it back. Grief is also bad for that same reason. Alright. Looks pretty good. You take out Stitcher Supplier in this matchup as well, it's just not good enough. Because if you mill one of your creatures and don't have a way of bringing it back, they can actually kill you with it. This is a turn 1 win. And you would think in a nutshell to snap keep this, right? Because you just go land, pedal, entomb, animate. The problem is he's on the play. What hand is he going to keep that doesn't A, either Thought Seize this hand, or B, kill you on turn 1, right? And for that reason, I think this hand's actually a mulligan. Like, if you're on the play, you snap keep this and you win instantly, but on the draw, I think this is a mull. It just has no interaction. It loses to a turn 1. Yeah. So this is like one of those trap hands that a lot of players who aren't experienced might keep this on the draw, but you actually want to throw this back, guys. And this isn't no lander, but I think you keep this because it's got fairy and it has a turn 1 win if you draw a land. So this is actually a much better hand. Even without any land, this hand is fine. Has a lot of disruption. So he's going to grief. Probably take the fairy, I'd imagine. I mean, he could take Entomb, but I think Fairy is the clear choice here. Okay, Reanimate Grief. Pretty good. Now he takes Entomb. Oh, he took Ritual. Interesting. I think I would much rather have him take Entomb there. Because now you run into this problem, right? Oh, man, that's a good hand. So, I think you actually have to take the animation spell and pray he doesn't draw a black card. Because if you take his Grief, then he 100% is just going to animate his own Grief. So, unfortunately, I think the only card you could take here is the Animate Dead. You can't actually take Grief because it'll just kill you by him bringing it back. It's a tricky one, though. A lot of people would be tempted to just take the Grief, not realizing he could animate it. But I think you actually want to take Animate Dead and hope he doesn't draw a black card here. Because you have the win in hand. You just gotta hope he draws a land, I guess. Yeah, I really think Animate Dead needs to hit the bin here. Alright. And Animate Dead is officially in the graveyard, boys. Well, opponent didn't snap Grief us, so that's good. Alright, and we're gonna Entomb. Alright. Faithless, that's a good draw. Can't block because of Menace. Alright. And yeah, that's gonna do it. Take the Faithless. Alright, GG. So we are 2-0. Going into round 3. Awesome. Deck's playing awesome. Feeling really good about this league, guys. All right. And we are on to round 3. This hand looks like a keep. We're against Boba. Oh man, this player is extremely proficient Stoneblade player. I believe he had a 30 trophy season. So I think we're just gonna pass and try to naturally discard a Worldgorger with this hand. Oof, counterbalance. So staying true to our plan here. Lethal Graveyard has been assembled. Alright, so he's going to brainstorm here, which means he's probably going to put a 2-drop back on top of his deck, which means we can't really go for it this turn. I think the only card we really care about here is either Teferi or Back to Basics. Probably Back to Basics, right? Because it actually is just a Stone Rain with our hand. I don't really think we care about Teferi. If he taps out, we have a very high probability of killing him. Because he'd have to flip a 2 off the top. So yeah, I think Back to Basics, probably the card that has to go here. Like, I just don't think we care about Teferi, really. Alright, and we discard the Back to Basics. And then, yeah, guys, you just want to pass here. You don't want to play into his 2-drop that you know he put on top. Okay, we're going to unmask. Okay, so he's fetching. Ooh, Snapcaster Brainstorm again. Brutal. So I think it's fine to take one of his Stoneforges, just so he has less 2-drops to stack on top of his brain. Yeah, I actually do like taking a Stoneforge here. Because we know he's going to brainstorm. Okay. Alright, so we got a Ponder here. The 2s just keep on coming. He did not shuffle. Interesting. So that probably means for us there's a 2 or a 1 on top since he did not shuffle. I kind of like passing here and trying to burn the 2 off the top of his deck. Yeah, I do kind of like that. Because, like, we know he's floating 2s this whole time. So, now he does shuffle. Interesting. This is the window we needed, guys. Alright, we're going to reanimate the grief. He's going to trigger counterbalance. Reveals the Scalding Tarn. Okay. He had the Force of Will. So we're going to take Force. I think he's dead, guys. Yeah. And that's going to be game. Wow. Tough to play through a counterbalance with multiple brainstorm effects, but it can be done if you're patient enough, guys. Alright. So we're going to get that game. I think we definitely want Thought Seizes here. Card is just so strong in this matchup. And Feed the Swarm seems fine just because we saw counterbalance. Plus, he might be ringing like Rest in Peace or something. Lotus Petal. This is one of the only matchups I actually do shave a Lotus Petal. Against control guys, you don't really have to be super fast. That's not the goal here. They're never killing you quickly, so you just want to... This hand looks like a pretty easy mulligan. Just doesn't do anything. This hand, even though it has 1 land, I think you're forced to keep it. And bin an animation. It's got a couple Thought Seizes. You hit another land with this hand, you're not in terrible shape. Alright. Good draw. Alright. Okay, so he's going to brainstorm here. Probably hide his best card. And I think a brainstorm here is a clear choice. Ooh, ponder. Okay. He did shuffle that time. Thoughtseize again. Okay. Think you have to. Believe it or not, I actually think you take the Mind Sculptor here. Like, do you really care about force with the hand that you have? Not really. I think if he gets down to Mind Sculptor, we're in a lot of trouble. Land was a good draw. Okay, we got a Stitcher trigger, and perfect. Gristlebrand. So Lethal Graveyard has been assembled. And GG. Opponent agreed. So, very nice start to the league. We're 6-0, 3-0 in matches. Yeah, deck feels great, guys. Let's keep up the momentum. See if we can get the 5-0. go! We got the Hammafist matchup. This is actually my real life teammate. His name's Hammafist Rube. Very strong shadow player. And we're just talking some friendly team talk here. I'm definitely keeping this hand. I don't think there's any way you mold this against Death Shadow. Alright. Nice of him to say he's going to scoop, but we're going to play it out for the boys on camera. And on the play, this hand is close. It's missing an animation spell, but I think you still keep it. Because it has multiple therapies plus unmask. I mean, against a Force of Will deck, that's pretty good. So we are going to keep this kind of sketch hand. I think it's probably fine. Alright, and we hit the therapy. That's pretty good. He's gonna Thought Seize. Probably take Unmask, I'd imagine. He could take Therapy. And we're not going to attack here. He is a Death Shadow deck, so I don't really think attacking here is going to achieve much. Entomb was not the worst draw. That was pretty good. Alright, it's a pretty slow, uneventful game so far, guys. Worldgorger was not a very good draw. We already have Lethal Graveyard in hand. So we just need to draw an animation spell, and we're in pretty good shape here. Did draw the Reanimate. So now we're going to go for it. Alright, we're going to try Therapy again. Oh, wow. Okay. Opponent's really tanking here on this Entomb. Wonder if he has the third force. Oh, wow, he does. I'm just letting him know. His hand is crazy. Alright, touche, sir. Now the question is, do we reanimate Worldgorger Dragon with him at 12 life? If he has a Snuffle in his hand, we just instantly lose, because we lose all of our permanents. It might be correct to go for it. It's also fine to pass here, guys, in case you're drawn into him. I'd say this one's close. Okay. 7/7 Murktide. Interesting. So now I think you have to reanimate the Worldgorger so you don't die in 2 hits. Because now once he attacks you with Murktide, it puts you down to 13. Even if you draw an Entomb for Gristlebrand, it doesn't really do much, right? So I actually do kind of like reanimating the Worldgorger now and just forcing a trade and hoping to draw another reanimate off the top. That seems fine. Yeah, this is tough. I think reanimating Worldgorger is just a play though. You could make the argument to pass, but I just don't see the reanimate getting much better. Okay, and we do end up finding that line. So we're going to exile our permanents and play our swamp. Lotus Petal is not a very good draw. Opponent's at 3. That is a very large Death Shadow. 10/10. Okay, so we can attack here, force the trade. I think we're going to have one turn window to draw an animation spell. So what we can do is we can actually cast the Entomb to get our Una, so that way our Worldgorgers are actually lethal. And we give ourselves a draw to animate or dance. Because right now our Worldgorgers just aren't lethal, that's the problem, right? I think attacking here is fine. Just forcing the trade. Get our lands back. Remember, opponent cannot snuff out right here. Alright, so I think we just go end of turn, Entomb the Una here. I think that's clearly the line. Another Murktide, that doesn't matter. So, get our Una. Play to your outs, guys, no matter what. Zing! Got there. Alright. We're gonna take game one. Alright. Now we're gonna bring in Thoughtseize and some number of Rotting Regisaurs. Seems fine. I think you want Gristlebrand in this matchup because you can't die to Snuff Out. That hand was busted. I think you definitely don't mull this. You keep this. That's close. I would keep it though. It has a lot of interaction, which is really what you want in a matchup like this. Okay, so he has a turn 1 Thoughtseize. Definitely taking Entomb. It's an interesting one. I like taking days here stuck on one land. You have to take Thoughtseize. Okay. So, we therapy ourselves. So, lethal graveyard has been found. Alright. Drew the dance, don't have the mana, which is unfortunate. Okay. We might be dead here. Alright. That's GG. On to game 3. Alright. So, on the play, I don't know if you really want to change much. I think just resubmitting's probably fine. You could maybe argue unmask on the play, but you don't ever want to play in the surgical. Okay. That seems fine. Yeah. I mean, you're not throwing away a turn one Regisaur. You just kind of have to hope it's gonna get there, right? Tomb was definitely a good draw. He did not shuffle, so he kept land. This is a very tense match, but I know he has Baleful Strix in hand. That shadow, okay. That's a big shadow. So, Entomb, I think, wants to find Grief? Is that two? I think Grief is probably fine to bin. Okay, we drew Reanimate. So I think we have to Therapy. thinking about days. If he has surgical, he would have played it, so we know he doesn't have surgical. But he can't actually play surgical because he's at 2 life. If we reanimate Grist now, can we beat a Baleful Strix? We know he has it in hand. So it'll save him from a Gristlebrand being reanimated. Like, we don't care about Strix, but at the same time we do. Yeah, I think Strix is just the safe card to name here. If he has it, he has it, right? Strix actually does save him from Grist. So, I don't hate this line. Okay. Just gonna brainstorm trying to find a Daze or a Force. Looks like he's in there. Yeah, GG's to my teammate Hammafist. He's a hell of a shadow player. This was a really close set. GG's. That was a close set, man. Alright, guys, we're 4-0 going into the last match. We are 4-0, guys. Super excited. Opponent is TCG player Benobi. I have not played against this player before. Sure. We keep this. It's a little weird and awkward, but I think we keep. Dryad Arbor. Lands, maybe? Guess it could be elves. So now we have... Yeah, I think we just have the win now, right? Unmask ourselves, dance, and then kill with Una. Yeah, this is GG. We're going to be one win away, guys, from the 5-0. Yeah, we're going to loop the dragon here, guys. For those of you that are unfamiliar with this combo, as long as you assemble a lethal Worldgorger loop and have Entomb in your hand, it is game, because you will be able to find your Una. So just telling opponent now, I'm going to shortcut with my Entomb. For the Una. Alright, and GG, we got game one, just like that, guys. So we think he's on Elves. You definitely want to bring in the Feed the Swarms, because he's most likely a Leyline of the Void deck. And I think you do want Thought Seizes for Endurance. It seems fine. Alright. This hand's a little slow, but I think against a leyline deck, you do keep this. As awkward as it is. We can't really be throwing back hands that haven't answered a leyline, right? So I think you do keep this. Ooh. Thoughtseize is kind of brutal. Ritual was a good draw. So he is on Elves. And we're going to see what he has. So I think we want to definitely strain the hoof. Or actually, maybe taking hoof there was correct to bring it back. And we have the win. So we're going to get the 5-0, guys, at our first league back. Super excited. Going to grab Worldgorger and go for the win. All right, guys. Hey, it was a really fun league. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. I highly recommend trying this deck out, especially in paper. It's so much fun to play, and I promise you will not be sad trying it out. Until next time, guys, have a good one.
Cut!